Welcome to Practice Admin Online Training, Billing Manager CMS 1500 Printing. If at the completion of this training you have additional questions, please open a ticket by emailing support@practiceadmin.com. In this training, we're going to cover going in and printing a CMS 1500 form. Okay, to get started, we start from in the Billing Manager, and you would have claims listed in this bucket right here called awaiting printing. So if you have some entries in there and you have made sure that these are not payers that can go EDI and in fact will be needed to be printed on a CMS 1500 form, here's the steps to follow to complete that task. We first want to look at our Claim General tab and make sure that all the fields in here are blank. If you have some information in here where you've been looking up patients, you can always click the New button and it would clear out any patient data. Then we're going to go to the Claim Final tab, and in the right-hand side we're going to click on the CMS 1500 button. When we click on that, we're going to get a box that pops up called Print CMS 1500 Claim Form. And in this method of printing, we're basically looking for all the claims in the awaiting printing bucket. Now, before you print any live claims, I would always recommend using this Print Test HCFA option. What it will do is you can enter or you can load your CMS 1500 form into your printer, select Print Test HCFA, and then click the Print HCFA 1500 button at the bottom, and it will print out onto your CMS 1500 form with all X's so you can get everything lined up. More than likely, you're going to need to manipulate the top margin. The most common setting would be 0.1 for the top margin, 0.1 for the left margin, and then the font size as 10 or 9. And the font name is typically going to be Agency FB. All right. Now once you've printed a couple of test HCFAs and you feel like you've got the margins and everything lined up, then you want to go for your live claims. So we're going to print all HCFA for insurance plans, and we can narrow this down for all payers or primary, secondary, tertiary, or liability. We can also narrow down the payer type. What I recommend doing is if you want to clear out the awaiting printing bucket, then you're just going to click this double arrow to select all plans, and all the plans in your practice list would move over to the right-hand side. And you're looking here where it tells you what claim final status, so we're looking at the awaiting printing bucket. But keep in mind, this task can also be completed for claims that are in other buckets. So if you're getting rejections for Medicare, and they've agreed to allow you to print them and mail them, then certainly you do have the ability to look in other buckets. As a default, it's going to go to awaiting printing as the claim final status. Once you've moved all the plans over to the right or made any selections of what payers you want this to look for, then you would click your Print HCFA 1500, and it's going to give you these printing boxes that pop up in the top left corner, letting you know that those are being sent to your printer. Once the printing has completed and you go back to your Today screen and refresh, the status of the claims are going to update into submitted by mail as opposed to awaiting printing. Now this is the method for printing multiple claims. Now if you only wanted to print one particular claim for an individual patient, then you could either double click in the awaiting printing bucket or double click in any of the buckets really, you're going to get a listing on the right hand side of the patients. You'd go ahead and double click on the patient. It would bring up that one patient's information here on the Claim General tab. Again, you're going to go to Claim Final, CMS 1500, and this time you're going to see the individual patient claim listed on the left. You're going to highlight and use the single arrow to move that over to the right, and then click your Print HCFA 1500 button at the bottom. You can reprint as many times as you needed to. In addition, you can adjust these margins. As I mentioned before, once you adjust them, the system will save those settings going forward. I would recommend you probably put a note somewhere with what these settings are, because if we did have a release, it would wipe out that history of information and you may need to update this information again. Okay, so that covers the basics printing of a CMS 1500 form in our system. Certainly, if you have any additional questions or concerns, feel free to reach out to us by emailing support@practiceadmin.com. Thank you, and we appreciate your time.